All right, so the lesson was for this discipleship uh, piece of homework. It was to take the story of Isaac and Rebekah and compare it to the story of Abraham and Sarah. Not so much as Abram and Sarai, right? But Abraham and Sarah. So we were making a distinction betwixt the two. Amen. All right. So start with the hubby. Uh, you know, both Abraham and Isaac were husbands. But the difference is that Abraham had two wives and Isaac only one. You know, and both husbands' wives were beautiful. Both husbands had their wives taken. Both husbands thought they would die due to their wives' beauty. Both husbands passed their wives off as their sisters. Both husbands had sons by their wives. Both husbands loved their wives. A difference is that Abraham's son was preordained of Yah and Isaac's wasn't. Another difference is that Isaac only had one son, and Abraham is attributed. There are seven attributed to him. You know, so now that's it that I have as far as the hubby goes. Now, father, you know, in the sense of a father, both Isaac and Abraham were in fact fathers. Both begot sons only. Neither of them had any daughters. Both Isaac and Abraham were husbandmen and shepherds, and had sons that were likewise. Both Isaac and Abraham had wives described as very fair to look upon. Well, that's a repeat. Both were depicted as peaceful men. When you think about both of their stories, Abraham as well as Esau, you know, there were no, you know, they didn't get their tail feathers ruffled, even though people were coming up against them. Both were about 75 years old when their dads died. A difference is that Isaac became a father at 60 and Abraham at 100. Another difference is that Isaac was a blind father and Abraham wasn't. Another difference is that Isaac's son was dishonest with him, whereas Abraham's wasn't. You know, so there are some differences concerning their fatherhood. And when it came to the mothers, you know, both Sarah and Rebekah went along with the deceptions of their husbands because they could have most certainly said, no, that's my husband. Right. But they did not. A difference is Rebekah was barren, but not Sarah. Once Sarai became Sarah, she immediately conceived and gave birth that same year. You know, well, not immediately, but soon thereafter, and gave birth that same year. A difference is that Sarah had one child and Rebekah had two. So Sarah had one son, Rebekah had two sons. Another difference is that Sarah was 90 years old. She was an old lady when she gave birth, whereas Rebekah was much younger. All right. Keeping covenant with Yah. You know, so both Isaac and Abraham were covenanted with Yahuwah. Both Isaac and Abraham was covenanted with Yahuwah via circumcision, i.e., they both had the token or sign of that covenant. Both Isaac and Abraham were covenanted with Yahuwah at Beersheba. Both Isaac and Abraham was covenanted via their fathers. The difference is, with Abraham, it was his heavenly father, and with Isaac, it was his earthly father. Yahuwah appeared before both of them and also spoke to both of them. You know, so you read about Yahuwah appearing to both Abraham and to Isaac. Now the difference is concerning the
Welcome to the webinar.
Concerning the circumcision. The difference is Isaac was covenanted with Yahuwah on the 8th day after birth, and Abraham when he was 99 years old. That's a pretty big difference. Another difference is Isaac was covenanted with Yah via his physical father. Oh, I said that one. And another difference is that Abraham was also spoken to by not only by Yahuwah, but Abraham was also contacted from on high by Elohim and by an angel as well, but not Isaac. Isaac is only spoken to by Yahuwah. All right, so Beersheba. There were some similarities concerning Beersheba, both in wells in general. Both dug wells, someone mentioned that, you know, so both actually dug a number of wells, actually. You know, both dug a number of wells. Both made their covenant with Abimelech at Beersheba. Both dug wells at Beersheba. Both called on the name of Yahuwah at Beersheba. Both dwelt or lived, resided at Beersheba. Both traveled the same way. Hence, Isaac dug all the same wells. Now, the Gerarites took wells from both Abraham and Isaac. A difference is that it was the servants of Abimelech that strove with Abraham and took the well from him, but it was the shepherds of Gerar that strove with Isaac and took the wells from him. Now, the difference is that Abraham planted a grove at Beersheba, but Isaac built an altar. You know, but they both worshiped at Beersheba. A difference is that Yah spoke to Isaac at Beersheba, but not Abraham. Another difference is that there was an exchange of lambs with Abraham's covenant at Beersheba, but not with Isaac's. Remember the 7 lambs? Mm-hmm. So they were both sojourners, you know, and they were both sojourners, and they sojourned as strangers in the promised land. Both also sojourned out of the promised land into Gerar. Both passed off their wives as their sisters, in particular to Abimelech of Gerar. Both of them prospered greatly in Gerar. Both made covenant with Abimelech, during which time Abimelech also brought Phicol, the captain of his host. Both were spoken to by Yahuwah. I think I mentioned that one. A difference is that Isaac was faced with a famine when he went to Gerar, but Abraham wasn't. Another difference is that when Abimelech came to covenant with Isaac, he also brought Ahuzah, one of his friends, with him. But he, but there was no friend brought when Abimelech covenanted with Abraham, just the captain of the host. A difference is that Yah plagued the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, but not because of Rebekah. A difference is that Abimelech discovered the truth concerning Sarah via a dream from Yah, but the truth concerning Rebekah came via observation. A difference was that Yah told Isaac to go to Gerar, but he didn't tell Abraham. A difference is that Abimelech changed all his people, charged all his people concerning touching Isaac or Rebekah, but no such charge was given concerning Abraham and Sarah. And another difference is that Abimelech invited Abraham to stay wherever he wanted in the land, but he kicked Isaac out of the land. Obedience. Both Isaac and Abraham were obedient to Yah. You know, I have a couple points of interest. Isaac experienced everything that his father had and went everywhere his father went, except Egypt. In fact, Yah specifically told him not to go to Egypt. But why? Why was Isaac only contacted from on high via Yahuwah and not by the word of Yahuwah or Elohim or an angel? Say loud. Both Isaac and Abraham were blessed of Yah. Both were promised blessings upon their seed. And both Isaac and Abraham were made to bring forth nations. Ishmael became a nation. We know that 2 nations came out of Isaac. And many of Keturah children became nations. So the difference is Abraham brought forth many nations and Isaac only 2. And then there was a difference where they both received a blessing, blessings from Yah. I meant to get rid of that slide. But both Isaac and Abraham are said to have built altars to Yah. Yeah. Which is a wonderful thing. Difference is Abraham's offering upon the altar that he built was provided by Yah within the moment of sacrifice, but not Isaac's. Isaac had to prepare his own offering. And so that's all that I had, for the similarities and differences for Isaac and Rebekah and Abraham and Sarah. Okay, so we have a new homework assignment.
Yeah.
I pray everyone is back into the scheme of things and ready and run and go. I'm looking at everyone.
There's a guilty one.
You know, I'm praying everyone is ready to get back. Everyone, I'm not singling anyone out. You know, praying that everyone is ready to get back. You know, get back in the swing of things. So the homework assignment is to read over chapters, read over the story of Jacob. You know, well, essentially it's Jacob and Esau. Read over the story of Jacob and Esau, chapters 20, essentially chapters 27 through 29. I think there's a little bit in 26 at the end where it gives you the birth.
Yep.
You know, so go from the end of 26 to 29 to the end of 29 and present the bare bones, you know, according to the format previously given. That's the homework for next week. I'll be looking, you know, for some smiley faces.